Hi everyone, it's Dr. Nikki. Thank you so much for joining for another episode of Message from a Goddess. And today I'm here with the beautiful goddess Sarah Skogberg, and she is a mother, as you can see here, and she has another child as well. She's a wife, she's a doula, she's a student to be a midwife, she's a singer-songwriter, and so much more. She's hosting retreats, and she's just a woman to be celebrated. And I see her doing all of this and appears to be effortlessly. And I wanted to know more about her, more about how it is that she shines so brightly in the world. And maybe you can share a little bit more about yourself or what inspires you at the moment.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for having me. What inspires me right now is healing, heart opening, awakening, the breath. The breath is really coming in strong. I recently was reading some pamphlets from a mentor of mine, and she speaks about, when you change your relationship to your breath, you would change your relationship to your power. And for me, I'm just having so much fun diving in and seeing, what does that mean? And living some really beautiful questions right now.
That's really beautiful. And it's funny because on the way driving here, I was breathing more deeply. And I've been thinking about doing some type of breath training, whether holotropic breath work or something. So I think it's really beautiful that finding that connection. And is that something you do on a daily basis in terms of a self-care practice? Or I guess what are the things you do every day to kind of take care of yourself, to shine so brightly and be who you are?
My self-care practice is mostly comprised of deep listening, spending time in nature, connecting with that slower pace inside of myself, even when the world is going so fast. The breath can be an amazing tool for just taking that pause, even if it's just for a few seconds. I recently took a trip to Kauai, and in my tent, in that glorious Kauai morning air, just had a wave of feeling the separateness. Some might interpret that as loneliness. And I invited myself just to go into a deep breath. And what's amazing to me is that just 3, 4, maybe 5 breaths at the most, every single cell in my body was pulsing and vibrating with this oneness. And it was absolutely undeniable. And I walked away from that morning's practice, you could say, with just this awe and immense curiosity that it really only takes a few breaths. That oneness is just a few breaths away.
I so love that. And I have done a breath video with another goddess. She does this thing called primal coding, and that's what she's called it. And it's all these different types of breathing, and really even just taking yogic breaths, deep breaths from the abdomen and bringing it all up throughout the lungs. And it's true, just a few breaths every day can really, or even just when you're feeling off, can just reset our bodies and our minds. So I so love that. And tell me, I know you're having a retreat in Kauai coming up. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's funny because I do have a retreat coming up in Kauai, but it's not scheduled yet.
Oh.
And so my first retreat will be in the Bahamas, actually, this October.
Oh, okay.
It's for women, actually, who want to conceive a baby or know that one day they'd like to be a mother. And it is in collaboration with wild dolphins.
Oh, wow.
And the dolphins, to me, they are the totem, the animal totem that speaks to breath and mana and sound healing, and what it is to give ourselves permission to be in that state of ecstasy, which to me, or to give ecstasy more definition, it's rapturous delight. And so, what is it to be moving and creating with this intention, with this foundation? And what I call that is moving from karmic creation to cosmic creation. And so it's an experiential deep dive for women who know they want to be a mom, whether in the next few months or few years. and it's an opportunity for us to really play.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I feel like I want to do a retreat like that someday. Maybe we'll collaborate on something like that, doing like a hybrid mind, body, spirit, dolphin dive, intentional calling in our future children.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so stay tuned for something like that coming up. So thank you for inspiring that. And it's true, I think that what you said about nature and even connecting with the animals, and it's so a part of who we are. And so often people are living in major cities, which it's part of just what we've created, but taking that intentional time out, whether it's doing your own personal retreat. You don't have to go on someone else's retreat, but maybe if you want some guidance because you're not sure of how to connect more deeply, that's why the retreat spaces are so wonderful.
It really is. It's the intention. You know, the moment you say yes, the moment you commit, you start to receive the miracles and the benefits from that work. And when we do it as a sisterhood and as a collective, we can bring that collective wisdom and teach and learn so much from each other in that space. And so a lot of it will be, circle sharing, some movement, some art healing work. Breath work will be a part of it, daily yoga, organic meals.
It sounds very similar to what I'm already doing.
That's awesome.
So that's amazing. And I just had one here on the land, as you know, and then having one in October, and having your husband facilitate some of the land work, which is...
It's a little long.
It's a little long.
Hope you're still with us.
and yeah, so it's so wonderful how so many of us are coming to offer these ways and wisdoms and sharing each of our superpowers. You know, we all have our own superpowers and coming together in whatever way that fits. And I love that. And so I could see that being a future one. So before we, in terms of morning and self-care practice, I know you mentioned there's one thing when we had a discussion that you like to do, and what is that?
Well, it's one of those mundane, everyday invitations. Not something everybody does, but one of my morning rituals is making the bed. And the reason why that is, we will go to the teaching tree in a couple of minutes. The reason why I make that my priority is because there's a really beautiful integration that happens when you, close up the bed, the space that you dream, the space that you travel out of body and explore many realms. And so there's something about, for me, making the bed, it's like this habit and ritual that invites me fully into the present breath of the morning and the moment and the day ahead and the waking. So it's just one of those ways that we can bring the sacred and kind of like meet the mundane and have this recognition that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Wonderful.
Motherhood has taught me that. There is reverence and sacredness in doing the dishes.
Yeah.
It's just saying.
It's true. And so I love this message from you, Goddess, which is that ritual, that taking that time to, for me, it's I make certain teas in the morning and I make my own almond milk, and it's creating something that will nourish my body. And I too make the bed, but even being really intentional about I am making the bed or I am washing the dishes. So that mindfulness, and I love that. So we hope that this inspired you in some way, and thank you so much for joining me today, Sarah. And I will share Sarah's information below if you want to contact her in any way or perhaps sign up for her upcoming retreat. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful day. Bye.